Hi moms. Okay, today I want to talk to you about something that's really important, and it's funny, I was noticing my coffee cup and it says think on it, and I want you to do the opposite of that. I want you to stop overthinking all these diets. There are so many out there, and if I could just share with you a little bit of what I've gone through and just give you some encouragement and just remind you of this amazing intuition and amazing wisdom that you already have as your child's mother, that it'll take you so much further than any diet book you're going to read, okay? And also forgive the fact that I have no manicure because, man, it's so good. Wow, it's a lot of lipstick. But it's never enough lipstick. Anyway, yeah, someday I'm getting a manicure when this whole Corona stupid thing is done. Okay, so I want to talk to you. So there's so many diets, right? And about 5 years ago when I was so overwhelmed and drowning in information for Charlie, I just was trying to find what diet will get me to the healed Charlie. And so I would research so many diets, and by research, I mean I also tried them, and sometimes I tried them for 3 to 6 months. I mean, I did not just dabble in anything. If I was going in, I was going hardcore. So some of the books and diets that I researched and used were specific carbohydrate diet, GAPS diet, keto diet, the FODMAP diet, Feingold diet, the body ecology diet. I looked into the Nemechek protocol. There's so many diets. But I understand, you've got a kid with ADHD and they've got these behaviors and you're like, what do I do? What happens is that we jump from diet to diet to diet to diet. As soon as we hear of a new one, we're like, well, maybe that one would be better. And it was interesting because I remember being at the naturopath and saying, how confused I was because I had done different diets and then finally had so much success with body ecology diet, and yet now kind of felt like we were backpedaling. I wasn't sure what was going on. And he just nonchalantly said, well, you've pulled out all the triggers, so of course he's doing great. And I was like, oh, okay. And then we continued on with his protocol of immunotherapy. We stayed with that for several months, but that for me just didn't ring true. I just felt like I was gaining more out of just sticking with Charlie's diet than doing the drops to battle the food sensitivities. So, but what came back to me years later when I was still trying to figure Charlie out, and when I happened upon a book called The Mucusless Diet System, and the only reason I even picked it up was because Charlie always had inflammation, he always congested, so despite whatever diet we did and how great he was doing at any particular time, he was still congested, to the point where I had to give in and just give him daily Claritin. And if we went more than 2 days without his Claritin, we were then gonna go right down the path of a really heavy head cold, heavy chest cold. But so when I found a book called The Mucusless Diet System, I'm like, oh cool, that might help me with all the mucus in his nose. I didn't realize it had been written in the 1920s and that the gentleman, the doctor who wrote the book, Arnold Everett, he called it the mucusless diet system is because he found 2 types of food that we eat, either mucus forming or mucus-less. His diet protocol was all about eating foods that would not cause one to have mucus. He kind of viewed the esophagus as being filled with like a sludge. He said that in all his years, what you would find is that if you did an autopsy on a 65 or 70-year-old, that you would find their esophagus be totally coated with sludge and not have much movement through it. So his thought was that this was the leading cause of inflammation. And he really sided with Hippocrates, who said all disease stems from the gut. And so he started a protocol that would look at, well, what would help people eat foods that they could more easily digest and therefore eliminate all the sludge and all the buildup that had come into their esophagus. And then once all that sludge was taken care of, wow, look at all that other energy now our body would have. So it's not wasting its time trying to digest all these difficult foods, these mucus forming foods. And what then could our body do? Wow, it could probably now be so freed up that it could rid itself of all the toxins that have been building up over the years. So when I read that, it just really resonated with me. What if I did make Charlie's food really simple? I was already feeding Charlie a very small diet. We were eating real foods, gluten-free, dairy-free, preservative-free, we were dye-free, refined sugar-free. We weren't having much fruit because I was always worried about the candida growth in the background. So when I read his book, what really resonated with me was this statement that he said, true science shouldn't be so complicated. Feeding ourselves shouldn't be so complicated. Think about it. We were put on this earth, we were given fruits and vegetables, we should be able to survive and thrive on those items. He started to look at different items such as the dairy. He'd say, really, we weren't meant to have items made from the milk of cows and other animals. We really weren't meant to eat decayed animal meat. We really weren't meant to have those things. And I thought, okay, all right, I get the gist. But what made more sense to me was just this idea of if we could gently feed the body with the foods that it was meant to have, then we could free the body up to then eliminate the toxins that were already causing the current illness. And he worked with a lot of people that had chronic conditions and chronic inflammation. He was not about giving you, recipes and diet plans. He's like, you don't need them. He goes, to tell you the truth, if you just ate apples for a week, you would feel really sick by the end of the week, and then you'd start to feel better. Because he was showing that by doing that, which is basically a fruit fast, your body all of a sudden was being given a food that it could digest very easily, which would free it up to eliminate all the stuff it had been holding on to. So that's why after like 6 or 7 days, all of a sudden, people who do these fruit fasts and these types of fasts are now congested and they're blowing their nose and they might have diarrhea, and it can be like really messy and they look like they have the flu. But really he's saying, well, that's awesome. That's healing right there. You're not sick. You're actually getting better. It kind of turned everything on its head for me. And which is annoying for my kids, because now if any of my kids are like, oh God, I'm getting sick. I'm like, are you? Are you really? Or are you just getting better and you're just releasing toxins? So they get no sympathy for me and they really hate me for that, but it's no problem. I can take it. So I took all this information in and I thought, wow, what if what I'm feeding Charlie now, because I had taken out all his triggers, what if I'm actually really on the right path and I'm just giving him the wrong proportions? What if I followed what Arnold Everett said, which was to make the greater proportion of Charlie's meals be the fruits and vegetables, AKA fruits, because Charlie didn't like any vegetables at the time, and made the carbohydrates, even though they were legal for Charlie, it was the brown rice pasta, the red potatoes, he did fine with them. His Deland bread, which was gluten-free, millet-based, just a few ingredients. But what if I made that a smaller proportion of his daily intake and the fruits a larger proportion? I had nothing to lose, and so over the next 3 days, I gave Charlie any fruit that his heart desired. And you have to understand, I really was restricting fruits because I was so afraid of candida overgrowth that I had been like running from for years. Let me just stop myself right here though. If you're a mom that says, oh, okay, well, I know for a fact that if my child has strawberries, they are off the wall. Well, then you know that, and that's your mom's intuition, and that is perfect. Then you're not going to give your kiddo strawberries. But if what I'm saying to you is resonating in another way, and there are maybe 4 other fruits that your child could have and doesn't show problems with, go after them, right? So anyway, he ate fruits. And I will tell you that by the 3rd day, Charlie's cough, which was like the telltale cough of like somebody who was a 2-pack-a-day smoker, was gone. You were actually like, oh my gosh, he's not coughing. He's not congested. And we didn't have to do his daily nose rinse too. He's that saline nose rinse, up one nostril, over the other. We used to do over the sink every day before school. And he loved that. No, he didn't. And I will tell you, on day 3, no more Claritin, no more daily nose rinse. We have not had a Claritin now, and he had been taking Claritin for well over 2 years. We haven't had Claritin now in almost 3 years. Like, can I get a hallelujah? And it's not so much about saying, oh, I stopped his congestion. If you're really hearing what I'm saying, is that means I stopped some inflammation. And all I did was shift the proportion of food that I was giving him. So for you moms that are at a standstill, we're like, wait a minute, I'm doing all healthy food. And remember, I'm talking to the moms who have pulled out the gluten, the dairy, the salicylates, if you need to. We're actually fine with salicylates except for the dyes and preservatives, okay? I know that there are other salicylates that are naturally occurring in many fruits and vegetables, and I know that there are some of you out there that go, oh, that's me, I can't have salicylates. But for the rest of you, I'm talking about pulling out the refined sugar, the preservatives, the dyes, the gluten, the dairy, and the corn, okay? Side note, we can have like Bob's Red Mill, organic, non-GMO corn, and we pop it on the stove with olive oil and sea salt, and we have popcorn. So we don't have a problem with that, but it's all the other corn stuff. It's not good. It's just not good. It's high in omega-6s too. When you pull that stuff out and you go, okay, like we were going, well, why are we still plateauing? What is going on? What am I doing? It's always awesome to say to yourself, the answer is hiding in plain sight. So what are you currently doing? I tell you all this because I was doing the bone broth and I was making homemade kefir with imported coconut water from Thailand. Yeah, if I had to do it again, I would have just gotten really quiet and said, okay, real food, simple food, no triggers, nothing that can cause any inflammation, really light on the gut so that the body can digest what's already it's having and then use the rest of its energy to excrete anything else that's built up over the years. Hello, it's so easy. The only thing I've left out is the fact that it's probably the hardest thing you'll ever do, right, Mom? And there's pizza and cotton candy and this and this and this and this. I get it, but I want to tell you something because now I've been doing it for a long time. And what happens is once you've been doing it a long time, it's not so upsetting anymore. Their threshold to eat wrong foods is much higher. So you can say, like, I still wouldn't give them cotton candy, but slice of pizza, I'll look at them and be like, fine, one slice. And I will do that like once in a month. I just want you to know, Mom, please don't get too overwhelmed when you read all the diets and when you find that next quick fix, which we know if you're doing a diet is never a quick fix. It's a huge investment, time, money, and emotion. Relax, let the body heal itself, let it eliminate the toxins by freeing up the energy to go from digesting the heavy foods to being able to eliminating all the stuff that's stuck in all the cells. So you've got this, moms. You know what to do.